Close your eyes for just a second. Now imagine waking up tomorrow, getting dressed for your day, but there's something missing. Not your shirt, not your pants. Something much more personal. Something so normal, you've never even thought about it. Underwear. Now here's the strange part. For most of human history, people didn't wear any. No layers underneath. No comfort. No protection. Just raw fabric. Directly against the skin. It sounds uncomfortable, right? But it's true. For thousands of years, underwear simply didn't exist. So the real question is, why? Why did humans wait so long to invent something so basic, so necessary? And when they finally did, who came up with the idea of creating a separate layer of clothing just for the parts no one talks about? The answer isn't simple, because this isn't just a story about clothing. It's a story about comfort, about culture, about privacy, and even embarrassment. Because believe it or not, what people wore underneath their clothes has always been connected to how society sees the human body. And once you see the full picture, you'll realize something surprising. Underwear didn't just evolve for comfort. It evolved because humans started to care what others think. Thousands of years ago, humans lived very differently. Clothing itself was already a luxury. Early humans didn't worry about style. They didn't worry about fashion. They worried about survival, warmth, protection, mobility. That's all that mattered. So when they wore something, it was usually just one simple layer. Animal skins, rough fabrics, basic coverings, and underneath, nothing. Because the idea of underwear simply didn't exist. Not because they didn't need it, but because they didn't think about it. Comfort, as we understand it today, wasn't a priority. Life was harsh, and when your biggest concern is survival, you don't stop to think about what's happening under your clothes. But as civilizations grew, things began to change. People started living closer together. Cities formed, societies developed, and slowly, awareness increased. Because now, it wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about appearance, cleanliness, and something deeper. Social judgment. People began noticing each other more. And with that came discomfort. Not physical discomfort, but psychological discomfort. Because for the first time, humans started to feel exposed. The first real step toward underwear didn't come from comfort. It came from culture. Ancient civilizations like Egypt and Rome began experimenting with inner garments, simple pieces of cloth, wrapped or tied around the body. Not exactly underwear as we know it today, but close. These early versions served a purpose. They absorbed sweat, protected outer clothing, added a layer between the body and rough fabric, but more importantly, they created a sense of separation, a boundary, something that made people feel just a little more covered, and that feeling mattered. Because as societies evolved, so did expectations. Modesty became important. What was acceptable and what wasn't started to change, and underwear slowly became part of that system. But it still wasn't common. Not everyone wore it. In fact, for a long time, it was mostly used by the wealthy or the elite, because extra clothing meant extra cost, and not everyone could afford that. So underwear remained a symbol not just of comfort, but of status. Everything changed when the world entered a new era. The Industrial Revolution. Clothing became cheaper. Production became faster. And suddenly, what was once a luxury became accessible. Underwear started spreading, not just among the rich, but among everyday people. Designs improved. Materials became softer, more flexible, more comfortable. And for the first time, underwear became normal. something expected, something essential. Today, it's one of the first things we wear, something we never question. But if you really think about it, it's one of the most personal inventions in human history because it sits closest to us. Invisible, but always there. So the next time you get dressed, pause for a moment, because something so simple has a story stretching back thousands of years. A story of survival, culture, and human awareness. And maybe the most surprising part is, underwear wasn't invented because humans needed it physically. It was invented because humans changed mentally. Subscribe to the Origin Cabinet to discover the hidden stories behind the things you use every day.